Now, your News 5 forecast first from the First Alert Storm Team. Brought to you by Green & Phillips Injury Lawyers.
5 o'clock now on your Wednesday afternoon, and we have developed some scattered clouds really across the entire Gulf Coast. That's the live look in from Gulf Quest Museum. Current temperature warmer today at 76 degrees. Temperatures will slowly cool through the next couple of hours. We'll end up falling through the upper 60s, keeping it fairly quiet. No rain this evening, but tomorrow, dust off the umbrellas. Rain chances are rising. Your news at 5 starts now.
Now on WKRG News 5.
A firefighter killed while working an accident scene. Tonight, a local community is in mourning.
New information about criminal charges against Spanish Fort's mayor, why the alleged victim never wanted to go to authorities, and why her lawyer wants video of the incident released.
And hear from one of the victims of the mass shooting at Ladd Peoples Stadium as the teen suspect appears in court.
Local coverage you can count on. You're watching WKRG News 5 at 5.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peter Albrecht.
And I'm Devin Walsh. Thanks for joining us tonight. A double tragedy today in Baldwin County. 2 people are dead after separate accidents at the same location. One of those killed a fire chief who had responded to an initial wreck.
News 5's Debbie Williams is live in Beulah in front of the volunteer fire station tonight. And Debbie, that entire community is in mourning.
Yeah, this all happened just before 4 o'clock this morning. The initial call, an 18-wheeler and a motorcycle collision. The motorcyclist was killed. But during that crash, there was another wreck, and another life was taken. A motorcycle on the back of a wrecker. Almost 9 hours after the initial crash, the first signs of some of the wreckage that took 2 lives. It happened near Donna Nelson's house.
2 log trucks were involved and a motorcycle, and then one of the log trucks had apparently hit one of the first responders.
That first responder, District Fire Chief Dwayne Bradshaw. Investigators say another big rig drove through the crash site this morning and hit Bradshaw as he was trying to help. He was a volunteer at the Bellevue Fire Station and here in Beulah, where the flag was lowered to half-staff in his honor. Escambia County Administrator Janice Gilley issued a statement that said, in part, the Escambia family lost a true hero and dedicated public servant today. Our hearts go out to Dwayne Bradshaw's family, loved ones, and all the men and women of the Escambia County Fire Rescue who are grieving the loss of their colleague and friend. 2 lives lost, something Nelson calls senseless.
Makes me furious that this had to happen to these people.
And just in the last couple of minutes, we've gotten an update from Alabama State troopers who are investigating both of these crashes. They both happened on the Baldwin County side of the state line. They identified the first truck driver that was hit by the motorcycle as Patrick Bankster from Bay Minette. The other driver from Mobile was Clifton Harrison. He was driving a log truck, and we're told that he hit 2 unoccupied vehicles before striking Fire Chief Dwayne Bradshaw. Now, the roadway has been cleared or has been closed all day long. We understand that it will be open. Highway 112, that's Muskogee Road here in Escambia County. It will be open within the next hour. Live in Beulah, Debbie Williams, WKRG News 5.
Thank you, Debbie. This morning's deadly crashes on the state line are raising concerns for people who live nearby. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock on News 5, we will hear from people who say not enough is being done to keep them safe.
Including this morning's wreck on the state line, 3 motorcycle riders have been killed in accidents in the last 24 hours. About midnight last night, 25-year-old Jeremiah Jenkins was killed when troopers say he missed a curb on I-110 in Pensacola and hit a traffic sign. About 8:15 last night, 33-year-old Michael Postles of Alberta was killed when his motorcycle was hit by an SUV on the Baldwin Beach Express at the intersection of Oakdale Drive, not far from Interstate 10.
Happening now, the U.S. Coast Guard is searching for a missing airman off the coast of Santa Rosa Island. They say he fell from a plane last night. News 5's Brian Clerkley reports from Northwest Florida with the latest on that search.
I'm here in Okaloosa County right before you get to Fort Walton Beach. Air Force officials have searched this area from Pensacola to Fort Walton Beach. Airmen fell from a C-130 airplane around 11:30 Tuesday night. So far, neither the Coast Guard nor the Air Force have identified the airmen. The Coast Guard, Florida Fish and Wildlife, and Air Force have been searching throughout the night and will continue. We'll continue to update everyone as we get more information. In Okaloosa County, I'm Bryant Clerkley, WKRG News 5.
Those of you with the News 5 app were the first to know about this accident. Download it now for free for iPhones and Android devices.
The prosecution continued to present its case today in the trial of Marquise Wallace. He's the man charged with vehicular homicide in the deaths of a 7-month-old baby and a 28-year-old woman in a hit-and-run crash last summer on Cervantes Street in Pensacola. Today, a police detective testified about the help Wallace received after the incident, while they say he was on the run. U.S. Marshals arrested him in Philadelphia. The defense contends there is no evidence to show that Wallace was behind the wheel when the victims were killed. The trial is expected to wrap up before the end of the week.
Authorities in Mississippi say a man charged with murder was mistakenly free for days due to a clerical error. 26-year-old Malcolm Hill was found in Foley 5 days after being released from a detention center in Columbus. A Lowndes County Sheriff's statement says Hill was back at the center Saturday, and the employee responsible for the error no longer works there. Hill and his girlfriend were charged with capital murder in a 2018 slaying.
Right now, we'll talk about the weather a little bit. It has been really nice fall-like weather so far this week.
Yes, we're going to see things start to change, I understand. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth.
Yeah, I would say in about 24 hours, we'll have some rain in the area, so you'll need those umbrellas for tomorrow. But today, we did notice the temperatures were a little bit milder. 72 right now in Mobile and Fairhope, 70 at Gulf Shore, 74 degrees now in Jay. Leakesville's checking in at 73. Pensacola is matching that, and our warm spot this evening is Navarre, now at 77. And that's a trend that we've been seeing all along the Gulf Coast. A lot of 70s to be found here. That cooler air has been shoved a little bit farther to the north. Satellite radar picture, just some scattered clouds working over our region right now. I don't anticipate any rain with the clouds, and we're going to keep it fairly quiet as we take you through the overnight period. Maybe a couple of those passing clouds, light breezes coming out of the east. But notice what's sitting upstream. That is our next rainmaker that looks to arrive for tomorrow. So tonight, scattered clouds, mild temperatures will actually end up falling only into the lower 60s actually tonight. Rain coming in Thursday evening, chillier temperatures for the weekend. But by next week, you could be looking at possibly our first freeze of the season. A very cold Arctic air mass will slide in. We'll take a look at the timing of that and talk more about the rain chances in the coming days in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. Now a News 5 update. New developments tonight in the harassment case against Spanish Fort Mayor Michael McMillan, accused of slapping a city employee in the face. Tonight at 5, we're hearing from the attorney of the alleged victim, who says his client wishes this whole thing had been handled differently. News 5's Brianna Hollis is live outside of Spanish Fort City Hall with more.
So, Peter, City Magistrate Lindsay Cooper is the one who filed those charges against the mayor. We spoke with her attorney, Ed Smith, this morning, who says Cooper filed that complaint with work the day after this allegedly happened. But her attorney says nothing really happened after about 2 weeks. So she felt like she had nothing else to do but go to law enforcement.
She did not want it to go in this direction. She gave the city ample opportunity for them to do something, and they really did nothing that would be helpful to her in her situation.
Ed Smith is representing Lindsay Cooper, the Spanish Fort City magistrate, who says the mayor told her to shut up and slapped her in the face at work.
She was shocked beyond belief, when he slapped her.
The mayor hasn't answered reporters' questions on camera, but in a statement he released Monday, he said, in part, "I am satisfied that after a full and fair hearing, the allegations against me will be disproved and I will be exonerated." Cooper's attorney says Cooper, as well as other city employees, have been told not to speak publicly about this.
She loves her job, wants to keep it. She just does not want to be hit at work. She wants a safe workplace like anybody else.
Now, everyone involved in this case says there is surveillance video of this alleged incident, and it happened right here inside City Hall last week, right after the arrest. We requested that video from the city, and just about 10 minutes before the show, we got an email from the city clerk saying that they do not plan on releasing the video because it is involved both in the city's internal investigation as well as a criminal investigation. I reached out to the city attorney again, though, asking that because this happened on public city property, if that has any, say in any of this. We still haven't heard back. back from him yet on that front, and we'll have this letter online at WKRG.com shortly. Reporting live outside Spanish Fort City Hall, Brianna Hollis, WKRG News 5.
Thanks, Brianna. The case against the teenager charged in the Ladd Peoples Stadium mass shooting is going to the grand jury. Today, D'Angelo Parnell was in court, and we learned more about the shooting. Parnell's bond was also reduced. And as News 5's Katerina Lukatic tells us, one of the victims is not happy about that.
Kind of hard.
More than 2 months after the shooting, Marcus Kimbrough still can't make a fist.
It changed my life drastically. You know, one-handed, can't hardly maneuver my right hand because I'm right-hand dominant. So hard to get dressed.
Today, Kimbrough sat in the gallery during alleged shooter D'Angelo Parnell's preliminary hearing. A Mobile police detective testified 9 shots were fired that night. They recovered 7 shell casings from a 9mm and 2 from a .380. Detectives say Parnell is seen firing the 9mm in Ladd's surveillance video. He's charged with 9 counts of attempted murder. Parnell's lawyer argues the math doesn't add up.
They don't have any evidence that, any direct evidence that a bullet fired from Mr. Parnell's gun shot the victims themselves.
The detective said they're still waiting for ballistics to come back to determine which victim was shot with which weapon. The judge ruled there's still enough evidence to send the case to the grand jury, saying some charges could be dropped if ballistics prove Parnell isn't responsible for some of the injuries. The judge did reduce Parnell's bond from $540,000 to $405,000.
Me personally, if I was the judge or anybody, I would want them to stay behind bars because of what happened. But you got to understand, you got a lot of victims in this.
If Parnell does make bond, he'll be under electronic monitoring, can't carry a weapon of any kind, and is not to have contact with any of the victims. In Mobile, Katerina Lukatic, WKRG News 5.
That shooting at Ladd led to new security protocols at Mobile County football games, and that will extend to basketball games as well. The basketball season starts tomorrow night, and the school system says metal detectors will screen people going into all basketball games. Only clear bags will be allowed, and schools will have a single point of entry. There will also be more police officers present at games. For more information on the safety protocols, head to our website, WKRG.com.
Still to come, 2 lawmakers find common ground when it comes to keeping kids safe. Coming up, hear how Alabama's Doug Jones is teaming up with other senators to protect children while they're at school.
And just ahead, some surprising results of a statewide survey involving poverty.
You're watching WKRG News 5, local coverage you can count on, with Devin Walsh, Peter Albrecht, and Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth. This is WKRG News 5 at 5.
Welcome back to News 5 at 5 o'clock, local coverage you can count on. We have breaking news. An Amber Alert has been issued for a missing 5-year-old girl from Jacksonville, Florida. Police are searching for Taylor Rose Williams. According to a 911 call, she was last seen in her room Tuesday night. When they tried to wake up the little girl, she wasn't there. The door to the house was unlocked. Police say they are not ruling out any possibilities at this point.
Alabama Senator Doug Jones and Georgia Senator David Perdue have found common ground when it comes to school safety. The two are proposing a bill that would create a database on safe school design. News 5 Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer reports the senators say every school should have access to the latest designs and best practices for schools.
Georgia Republican David Perdue and Alabama Democrat Doug Jones generally stay on their sides of the aisle in the U.S. Senate. But when it comes to keeping schools safe,
it means that this is not a partisan issue.
The more that we can share with each other, the better.
The lawmakers are working together to create a national database to allow local and state officials share their best practices for school safety. The School Safety Clearinghouse Act would be the first federally coordinated and federally funded effort to improve overall safety.
When we have our kids go to a public school, there's this inherent agreement that we're going to make those kids safe. And so this is the first step of really trying to do what is just common sense, actually.
The database would be managed by the Department of Homeland Security and include recommendations from first responders, mental health advocates, and building security experts. The Commission on School Safety recommended something like what Jones and Perdue are proposing last year. Many schools across the country have already stepped up their security measures, like ID scans at entrances, built-in lockdown features, and upgraded windows with shatter-resistant glass. Jones says the bill doesn't address gun violence specifically, which he hopes will soon become a part of the conversation in Congress.
That would help more than anything, but this is important.
President Trump called for a system like Jones and Purdue's bill in his own school safety plan, and it's already paid for. Congress has approved funding for a program like this. Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer.
Today, President Trump nominated an Alabama judge, the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Andrew Brasher is being nominated to the appellate court just 6 months after he became a federal judge. Brasher was Alabama Solicitor General from 2014 to 2019, most notably working on legislative redistricting and abortion laws. He previously was an attorney in Birmingham. Dauphin Island has the lowest poverty level in the state in a measurement of zip codes done by the U.S. Census Bureau. The poverty level is just over 1% for people living in the 36528 zip code. Other areas in Mobile, Spanish Fort, Fairhope, and Orange Beach are also seeing low poverty levels. Meanwhile, places like Pritchard, Chickasaw, Bayou La Battery, and Monroeville are seeing higher poverty levels. And Calvert, which is along the Mobile County, Washington County line, has the state's highest poverty rate by zip code at more than 69%.
Now, Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth with your First Alert Storm Team forecast.
Well, the evening commute is underway, folks, along the Bayway and Causeway, and under a mostly cloudy sky. We've had this little patchy area of clouds that's sort of been rather stubborn throughout the day today. No rain out there, though, but it's still a partly to mostly cloudy sky. That's the live look in from our Unity Fiber camera out in Pensacola. Temperatures a little bit warmer today, getting into the middle 70s for many locations. Right now it's 73 at this spot. Calm winds, and eventually we'll keep the breezes fairly light as we go through the overnight period. Tomorrow, get the umbrellas out. A 60% chance of needing your Green and Phillips umbrella as we are anticipating our next cold front to arrive. Out there right now, it's dry. Temperatures low to mid 70s area wide. It's now 70 at Gulf Shores, 75 at Pascagoula, 77 in Navarre, 76 actually just dropped, 72 in Mobile and Fairhope, same to the north in Grove Hill. So tomorrow, temperatures start off a little bit milder. We're in the middle 60s. We'll get above average, climbing to just shy of that 80-degree mark before the showers and thunderstorms arrive. So water vapor imagery is quite telling. You can actually look at the increasing moisture, the shades of white and certainly the shades of blue that are now taking shape back to the west. That's in association with our next big weather maker. You can see all the rain across North Texas, Oklahoma, all of it heading in our general direction. And we're going to expect that to arrive by tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow morning, clouds increase. There may be a couple spotty showers out off the coast, but then we'll see those showers and thunderstorms start moving in. I think it's more rain, likely not too many thunderstorms around, but one or two rumbles will be possible. Clouds will linger through Thursday night and into Friday morning. We'll have that northerly breeze. It'll be a little bit breezy through the day, and then the skies will eventually clear out during the afternoon hours. So good news actually shaping up here for the air show on Friday at Pensacola. I think we'll maybe have a stray leftover shower in the morning, but that chance does not last long. Temperatures will be noticeably cooler, though, to end the week. But let's talk about an even colder air mass on the way. I want to show you this. There's our first dip in the jet stream. That will drive in cooler air for the weekend. But it's this next trough. That's the one that's really going to pack a punch. In fact, long-range forecast here. Watch this. This is into next week. As we start going through Tuesday, and then by Wednesday morning, we could be seeing widespread 20s in the area by the middle of next week. That would be our first widespread freeze. Again, temperatures will be cooling down here through the upcoming weekend in the lower to middle 60s. Dry for Veterans Day, but rain arrives Tuesday. There's that big cold snap coming by Wednesday of next week, guys.
Hey guys, I'm WKRG's Caroline Carruthers, and I'm here at Blues Angel Music, where I just spoke to Nan DeStaffney about Yamaha pianos, as well as how to get your children involved in piano and music. She has lots of tips for you. Go check them out on our website, WKRG.com.
Welcome back. Alabama's state tourism agency is being honored for its work promoting civil rights travel in 14 U.S. states. The agency received an award for its marketing campaign for the U.S. Civil Rights Trail during an industry trade show in London. The trail promotes museums, churches, and other landmarks across the South. The state won an award for Best Regional Destination.
Here on News 5, we're honoring our nation's veterans. On News 5 at 6 o'clock, our Bill Ryle speaks with World War II vets about their experiences while serving their country. We've also put together a 30-minute special called Veterans Voices. It features local vets and their stories from their time in the military and afterward. You can watch that show right here on News 5, Friday at 6:30, then again on Veterans Day, Monday at 9:30 p.m. on the Gulf Coast CW.
As we go to break, let's take a live look at traffic on the Mobile Bayway. It's so dark out there now. Everything looking smooth on this Wednesday evening. News 5 at 5 will be right back.
Well, today you can indulge in some tortilla chips drizzled with melted cheese and dipped in salsa. It is National Nacho Day.
In case you were wondering, nachos were first created around 1943 in a U.S.-Mexico border city by Ignacio Anaya, whose nickname was Nacho.
One of my favorite things.
Never knew it.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next.
WKRG aerial footage sponsored by Green & Phillips.